Honestly, probably my dad. My dad, he loves stand-up, and I think he was probably meant to be a stand-up comedian. I think he was born for it, and he was raised on like Seinfeld and guys like that, and he watched like Bob Newhart every day. He loved it. So when I got my first iPod, the two albums that were on it was Jim Gaffigan's King David and Jerry Seinfeld's Live. The two albums. So I just listened to that nonstop and was kind of fell in love. And from there, I went through high school and was like, oh, I'd love to do stand-up, and then I heard about this open mic and I went out to it. And I've been here ever since. Terrible. I bombed really hard. Yeah, and I still bomb consistently. But yeah, first time doing it. That was a question, right? First time doing stand-up was terrible. I bombed. I think you have to bomb. I think if you're good from the start, then when you bomb later on, then you kind of give up and you quit. But I think, I bombed pretty regularly for the first month, and I started getting laughs here and there on little jokes. And when I first started, I wanted to be like Mitch Hedberg, Stephen Wright, Dimitri Martin kind of guy, and I had very short jokes. So I was able to, maybe a little quicker to be like, okay, this joke works, this joke doesn't, this joke works. So I was able to build up a couple of minutes, pretty much right off the bat, not right off the bat, but in a couple of months that kind of worked for me. But yeah, no, the first time I went up, it was terrible. I bombed for 5 minutes straight. I got off stage and I was like, I need to do that again. And yeah, I've been kind of hooked ever since. Some of my favorite ones lately, Arj Barker is a guy, he's on Flight of the Conchords. He's got an album called LYAO, and that's one of my favorite albums in terms of just a perfect arc. The whole show is, every joke is so well written and delivered so well. Arj Barker is he's a pretty big comedy influence that I've only really picked up lately, and just in terms of special, that's amazing. Other specials that were big was Mitch Hedberg, All Together, and Do You Believe in Gosh? Both of those albums were awesome. And I love Mitch Hedberg. He was that's one of the most embarrassing things I think, is when I was younger, back in middle school, I would take Mitch Hedberg jokes and post them on Facebook as my own. And people would be like, Mark, where'd you get this from? And I'd be like, oh, I made it up. And it was the most ridiculous, incredible, brilliant jokes. And I was like, oh, my brain. And it's looking back, I cringed I was 12 years old stealing Mitch Hedberg jokes, but I guess that kind of shows how big of an influence he was back in the day. And then another one was Emo Phillips, live at Hasty Pudding Theater. He was another one-liner guy that was just impeccable. And then man, I could keep going. I'm thinking Brian Regan, I forgot what the name of his album is, but that first one recorded back in '98, it's on my Spotify. It's him in front of a brick wall. And then I'm trying to think. Brian Regan's, Mike Birbiglia was huge. Man, I know I'm forgetting something, it's going to frustrate me. Gagnon was huge, Seinfeld was huge. Jimmy Carr is another one. Jimmy Carr has a bunch of great albums. Anthony Jeselnik, Thoughts and Prayers. I'm going to stop there. But yeah, those are pretty much the big ones, I think. I haven't really watched a ton of TV. I love Seinfeld. Probably my favorite show lately has been I Love Lucy. I love Lucille Ball, or Lucy Arnaz rather, in the show. And it's on Hulu. I just power through those. Watch 2 or 3 a night. I love I Love Lucy. In terms of a clear packaged plot in just 20-25 minutes, it's simple, it's clean, it's funny, it's amazing. I Love Lucy's up there, Seinfeld up there, Bob Newhart is huge. I've even watched Friends a little bit. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Office was awesome. As far as sketch goes, I really like Key and Peele. I think it's kind of cliched, everyone likes Key and Peele, but I think just in terms of especially cultural commentary, talking about their lives and their upbringings, I think those guys are great. Another show, my favorite show right now is a show called Nathan For You. It's by a Canadian sketch comedian. His name's Nathan Fielder. And he goes into businesses pretending to be the prophet, he's a business mogul. And he goes in and gives them these ideas, and they are the worst ideas ever. and somehow the ideas end up working. It's an amazing show. But yeah, I'm trying to think. In terms of movies, I would say big movies were probably like Airplane. That was one of the first movies I was like, dang, this is fun. I don't even know. I'm trying to think. Man, I'm blanking right now. I never really got into a ton of comedy movies, per se. I was a Disney guy. This is a guy who I should have mentioned when I was talking about my film specials. Probably Bo Burnham, I think. Yeah, probably either Bo Burnham or Daniel Tosh. One of those two guys. Two totally different comedians, but I think Bo Burnham, it'd be interesting to hang out with him because I consider myself a pretty young person in the grand scheme of life. You know, being 19, I don't know anything. But Bo Burnham was one of those guys, but he was my age. He was, you know, recording Comedy Central presents and stuff like that. And yeah, no. So I think it'd be really interesting just to talk with him and go on the road that way. And then Tosh, because he's like another like Orlando native, kind of, you know, being from Titusville and kind of starting in Orlando a little bit. It'd be cool talking to him, seeing what he thinks about comedy in Orlando. And I've heard he's a pretty interesting guy, so I think probably those two guys as of right now. But that list probably changes every day. But yeah. Obviously Jeff Ross. Okay, he's the king. You gotta let him have it. Probably Anthony Jeselnik. I would say Pete Davidson. I'm gonna go ahead and say, man, who else do I love? Who else would I want to roast me? I would say Tosh. I'm gonna put him up there again. If Tosh could roast me, that'd be great. And last but not least, I'm gonna say, if we're gonna do live comedians only, I'm gonna say Jimmy Carr is gonna be my fifth one. The guy's a genius. I love Jimmy Carr. If it was dead, I'm gonna throw Oscar Wilde and George Carlin. Those two guys. Oscar Wilde's not really so much a comedian, but like a comedic personality writer. The guy's a brilliant person. Yeah, those two guys. I don't know. I mean, right now I'm in school, so it's kind of a weird balancing act. Like, you know, what if something blows up and I have to like, and something happens? I mean, I doubt that. You know, I don't know if things happen like that. You know, being from Orlando, I doubt someone's gonna call and be like, "Hi, Mark, we want you here now." But like, I imagine I'll probably finish school in the next 3 to 4, probably the next 2 to 3 years I'll finish school. And then, depending on where I'm at comedically, if I'm headlining by the time I graduate, I hopefully will go to New York, I think. But if I'm not there, then I'm willing to stay in Orlando as long as it takes to get funny. You know, starting in Orlando, being in Orlando. I think it's a great place for people to get funny, and then you got to go someplace else to really capitalize on that. But yeah, I think the plan for the next couple of years: finish school. If I'm funny enough, go somewhere. If not, keep getting funny. Well, actually, recently I ventured off into improv. So I've ventured off into improvisational comedy through my school. They just have an improv troupe that I went out for, and it's pretty competitive. Like they have a great system, and it's traditional, and it's it's like really family styled, like a troupe, I guess. And they have like things that connect you with past members. It's really awesome. So doing improv tickles me like nothing else. Like I'll watch stand-up and be like, wow, that guy's a genius. But then I'll watch improv and just be giggling the whole time. Like, I love improv. Yeah, but I think improv is something that I want to get better at. And then even sketch comedy, just like filmed, short, like 5-minute sketches that would be a big thing. Yeah, I really like improv and sketch. And then other than that, I'm not really positive. Honestly, I really would love to do musical comedy. In some way, I don't know how, but if I could do an instrument-based freestyle rap, I think that'd be it. view comedy as escapism, kind of. I don't know. I like political comedy, but I don't know if it is. It's not my personal style because I don't want audiences. I don't know. I don't really. As of right now, I don't know if I really want to challenge audiences that much. I kind of just want it to be a fun, elated experience for the audiences to sit back and laugh. And I bet in the future, as I progress, I'll probably want to rub, audience members a little bit more. But right now, I'm enjoying just trying to be just simple, funny, a little bit naughty at times, but just ridiculous and kind of surreal. So if I want an audience to walk away saying, wow, that was a fun way to spend the evening. It was simple, it took us out of all the nonsense that happens in the real world. That was fun, and now we're going back into the nonsense. But I think probably just being able to relax and have fun is what I want my audience to do. So I'm on Facebook, Facebook.com/MarkyFierce, MarkyFierce. I'm on Instagram and Twitter also, the same handle, MarkyFierce. I post silly pictures all the time and like dumb jokes on Facebook. And yeah, those are probably the best ways to reach out to me. And I'm in Orlando, so if you go to an open mic during the week, there's a good shot that I'll be there, and I'd love to hang out. Yo, what's up? My name's Mark. Check out my interview on thecutie.com.